Welcome to John Makes Beats, where John makes beats. I'm your host, Montgomery, and today we're going to be making a beat on this isn't an MPC. What is this? This is a Yamaha RS7000. It says it's a music production studio, but what does that mean? Well, this thing is a groove box that can also sample. So it has the ability to compose via MIDI. It has the sound fonts and the sound sets within it in order to do so. And then it also has dozens of drum kits, but it also has the ability to sample. The reason why I became curious about this thing is I saw someone on YouTube by the name of Isobutane who was using this in their videos, and I'll link them in the description. But I saw what a standalone complete ecosystem device from 2001 sounded like when it's programmed with the idea of more modern sound and composition. So let's get started. There are 16 tracks on this machine, and each of those tracks can either be sequencing internal sounds, including things that you sample in, or it can be external MIDI sequencing. We're just gonna try to use everything internal in this machine. I don't wanna use anything else. I don't have a synthesizer here with me. I wanna see what I can do with just this box. There's also a piano keyboard right here that's been pretty fun to work with. So we don't even need a MIDI keyboard. We can just do everything here. This is the default drum kit that you get when you turn this on. It's called the analog kit. And it sounds like 2001 or earlier. But one of the things that you can do with this machine that make it your own is there are these modulation options. So you have the pitch right here. This is a pitch for the entire track. And you also have the ability to have a filter with a resonance. And you could choose between different filter types right here. It's already starting to sound pretty hard-hitting, but then you also have effect sends. So these are master effect sends. So you have, a delay echo. You also have a reverb. There's 100 different effects that you can choose here. Hey, that's a pretty cool effect to have in a groove box in 2001. That's pretty insane. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of things. We weren't even halfway through. I want something that I can sort of use as a send for the entire thing. Let's go with D turntable. I think that'll be nice. You have different noise tones. I'm going to use 0. I'm happy with that. Low pass. Oh yeah, this is like the high end of this noise here. Let's go to the second effect, which is the delay. Oh, a lag. Oh, I love this. Okay, so like lag allows you to hit something right on the 2, and then it sort of just drags a little bit or gets brought up a little bit early. I love that. That's actually a really usable feature. Now you can send the delay to the reverb, which is actually really slick. You have different reverbs that you can use. There's 12, I think, yeah. I've been using White Room a lot. It's got a nice sound to it. It's like you're playing a beat in like a rec center or something. So we'll sort of like use that as a bedrock, and then we can reach for these whenever we need a little bit of space or movement within the track. Let's change our kit. There's some freaky stuff, man. There's a break kit here. Let's start by doing that. That's probably like an 86, 87. Now, obviously that didn't sound that great, so we're going to go in here and we're going to quantize with a swing of 57. So now that we have this, I'm going to turn the pitch down. I shortened the decay on these drums now that we're bringing up the BPM a little bit, make them a little bit more subdued. So I'm happy with that track 1. I think that that's fine. Now I want to have the hi-hat too, but I don't want it to be affected by all these parameters. I'm going to make track 2 my hi-hat. And let's find a hi-hat that works for us. That's nice. So I'm going to record that. And because I'm adding onto it, I'm going to be overdubbing instead of replacing. I'm going to add this clap, every other snare. Ooh, now I'm going to start adding other things to sort of make it a little bit more funky. It's like stuff like this. And I'm not quantizing any of this stuff. This is just based on feeling. Yay! That's funky. I want to put that in there somewhere. Right at the end. That was fun, but now we can sort of bring in some chords, bass, leads, that sort of thing. So track 3, pads. Let's bring the octave down. We'll figure something out, but that's sort of like the idea. So let's record this. this fourth chord, I haven't thought of it yet. But once I think of it, I can bring it into the pattern, and that's what it is. So we're gonna record overdub, and then it lights up all the notes. That's nice. There we go, very nice. Let's mute the 2 drum tracks and let's play around with this a little bit. Bring a little bit of delay. Make it feel a little bit more in the space. Maybe some portamento. There we go, that's nice. Now let's add some LFO to this. I'm going to use this sample and hold. We're not gonna use that on the amplitude, we're gonna use it on the pitch. But just a little bit, just to give you a little bit of instability. We have that. Now maybe we can bring in a bass line. So let's go in here and we can take a look at the basses that we have. So one thing I can do here is I can use the LFO as sort of a control for like a vibrato. With the filter and with everything else, you can actually take any of these tones and really tweak them to your liking. Now here you can use the filter envelope to maybe bring a little bit of movement in here, a little bit of resonance to sort of make it more pronounced. You got some pretty good expressivity here. That might be it. There's that and some of those glides. Oh man, going from like a crawl? Ugh. I like that little. It sounds good. That's sick. So now we have the chorus and the bass down. Let's move on to track 5. One of the cool things about this machine is that you can go into the mixer here and you can have the notes randomly pan around the field based on how strong this is. The random panning will be even more drastic. And it isn't like an auto pan, it's like every note will randomly hit in a different section of the stereo field. We got quite a few tracks left. We're not gonna use all of them, but I wanna add some more interest. We have no melody here. Something like that. Pan it a little bit to the right. So let's take it from here and let's add something here that makes this group of instruments sound more interesting. And then this other one, which is like the dreamy sound, we're gonna pan that a little bit to the left and make that a random pan too, just so we have more space here that we're working with. So let's actually bring in like an actual instrument. See what we got here. We're gonna do that. We're going to do that. It's an arpeggiator with this mute guitar. Nice. What the hell is that? I love this. Whatever this sound is. I can do random pan and every single time it triggers, it can, bounce around the headphones. All right, I like this. I just brought in like a hair of that delay. Just like a hair of it on the master. Nice. So I think I'm happy with this. Let's put it on tape. I like this track. It's pretty fun. I love this box. This box is great. Sometimes we take a look at like previous gear that's come out and we think about like how the hell did people make music on those things? Like the SP1200 had 10 seconds of sampling time. But I think all of these machines were designed for the love of music in mind. And whether or not the technological limitations were, a big problem with the era, you see a machine like this that came out 24 years ago. I'm having just as much fun on this thing, making just as many creative decisions on this thing as I am, anything else that's out now. Obviously, this is more limited in scope than, say like a modern day MPC or something like that. But I don't know, this is a box that I could use for a long time. I could just keep it somewhere, turn it on, and always get something out of it that I enjoy. There's more than enough here to facilitate that. So this will show up on the channel at some point in the future. I want to bring this back and maybe look at the sampling capability. because we didn't even touch the sampler. That's all the internal stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to hear this track as well as all the other tracks I make on the channel, go ahead and subscribe to my Patreon where you can get access to albums upon albums of stuff that I've made here in this studio. Also, on top of the music, you can also jump in the live streams where I film all this stuff. So you've been watching for maybe like 8 to 10 minutes. I've been here for 2.5 hours with a group of my patrons and we've just been chilling. But other than that, thank you so much and I'll see you next time. Peace.